Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first edition of Amateur Cast of a Random League game, in which I, an aspiring caster, am going to practice by watching random games from the LOL client, commenting on them, uploading them to YouTube, and sharing them with my friends. I do have to warn you that even though I make an effort not to swear on my streams, being Irish, they do just slip out every so often. So if you have a sensitive disposition, um, maybe this isn't the video for you. That said, I hope you enjoy it. Because of the nature of the streaming or the spectating client, you start 10 minutes in, so we get bored all of that. We get to skip all of that early, boring farming and picks and bans and all that stuff and get straight into the action. So let's take a look at the two teams that we have here. On the side of blue team, and I'll take this time to sort it out as well. You've got Rek'Sai in the jungle, Sion in the top lane, Azir in mid, Severe and Alistar in bot. Whereas on the other side, it looks like we've got a Yazoo up in the top lane, Lee Sin in jungle, Xerath in mid, and then Lucian and Thresh in the bot lane. Gonna take a real quick look at the state of the game at the moment. Normally, games that I spectate aren't this advanced, so Blue has been doing some work. They're two turrets up, where and they've got 9 kills. They've got 4 kills on their jungler Rek'Sai, which isn't really ideal. 3 on their Severe, which is really good, and two on their Sion. But nothing yet on the Azir, who's 0-3-3. So he's a late game scaling champion, but hasn't had much of an impact in the game so far. And on the other side, uh, you've got Yasuo, Lee Sin, and Xerath, which is a really cool combo because Lee Sin's got the knock up with his kick, which leads into a Yasuo ult, and then Xerath just uses his Arcane Barrage and ults all over whatever's left. Very cool wombo combo. Should note that Thresh has also got a bit of knock up with his Flay, so there is some good inert synergy for the Yasuo there. Looking at their scores, they've just pulled their first dragon at 12 minutes in, or about 11 and a half minutes in. They're up by 2k gold. They've got one turret to 3, but they're not too worried about that because they have the potential to dig a lot of turrets now. And, you know, with more kills, with more turrets and that Drake on their side, they've certainly come out of the early game with an advantage over blue side. And I think really that's to be expected when you've got a Lee Sin who's an early bully. 8-0-0. He's just been destroying lanes, but no assists. You know, he's taken all the kills, which means that his Xerath and his Lucian are starved. His Yasuo are starved of kills. um, doesn't bode well because going into the late game, all that extra gold on Lee Sin isn't going to mean a tremendous amount. Um, Going down the board, Yazoo is 1-3-0. Now that up against the Sion, that's not surprising. As the Lee Sin is shut down and all of that gold goes over to Azir, it's 300 extra gold in his pocket. Rek'Sai going deep with the flash on Burrow knock up against Xerath, who pops his barrier. Alistar doesn't really have anything to bring to the fight. Severe's back at the turret, getting melted by Lucian, but now that it's a 1-on-3, he may reconsider, or maybe he'll go in with a culling and try a cheeky kill onto the Rek'Sai. In the bot lane, it looks like we've got 2-on-2, but Blue don't really want to have anything to do with it, nor should they, because 3/5 of their team are on extremely low HP, and they don't really have a lot of pressure elsewhere on the map. Um, I'm going to take a look at the itemization quickly, starting with the AD carries. So they're both in about the same place. They've got their pickaxe and their BF. They're heading towards Infinity Edges respectively. You've got the Averse in there, which means that they could opt into an early Yomu's or an early Static Shiv if they want a bit of a mid-game power spike. But considering how well their team is doing, Red side don't really need to do that. I'm not sure where this Legion intends to go with it, but we'll just have to wait and see. Um, Looking up at the mid laners, already a completed Morello onto Azir. giving him that grievous wounds and a little bit of extra cooldown. He's got a rod as well, which doesn't give him any utility at this point, but just a whole load of upfront AP, so he can start having more of an impact in these fights. He dashes in, doesn't take the extra movement, uses Emperor's Divide to get Lee Sin back out. You know, that's a lot of cooldowns for no real pressure. Didn't do any substantial damage on these guys because of the nature of pushing them out. There's no follow-up damage, so it's an opportunity for red team to push in and maybe take an objective or get a little bit of advantage here. The bot lane is pushing in their favor. Top lane is actually pushing in, and it will need red attention, but they're closer to that at this stage, or have the potential to rotate up to it. Dragon is down, so nobody's worried about that. Beautiful hook into his ear in the backline, but Thresh may have bitten off more than he can chew as he goes down to 4-on-1 essentially, and the ignite ticked onto Xerath. He made it through, but both Severe and Rek'Sai have made use of Severe's ults to get to the backline and zone him out of the fight completely. Here comes the culling, better late than never, I suppose. A lot of follow-up damage onto Azir, onto Severe. They're all low. Here comes Xerath. Most of the team is out of range. He misses most of those, but it's a triple kill for Yasuo, and all of that early game deficiency is forgiven now that he's just destroyed their team and escaped the fight on a sliver of health. Lucian looking for more, very greedy against the Sion. That's all I'm going to say. Under a tier 1 turret, when you're that low on mana, and exactly, down goes Lee Sin. Another third shot taken for Lucian. Yasuo and Xerath are both on ridiculous amounts of health, and especially when you're failing your dashes, you know it's time to leave. So there's the Rek'Sai farm alarm, and he's going to see if he can catch himself a Yasuo shutdown here, because he just got a multi-kill, and indeed he will get over 400 gold for that, which is good to get it back into his pocket. But again, I don't know if you necessarily wanted to have that on the Rek'Sai. If you give him that to the Azir or the Severe during the next fight or pick, then they could have better put it to better use. So even though you got the kill and you got the shutdown money, it means that you've denied more money to the rest of your team potentially. And what are you going to do with this 4-on-5? There's nothing up. Well, maybe Drake. If they get Drake off it, then I think it's worth it. Otherwise, I think it was a little bit greedy. But we'll just see. And there's the hook onto the Rek'Sai. No follow-up though. Lee Sin took a look, but it was very half-hearted. Blue team have the scuttle vision. They have some vision control over the choke point on the blue buff to mid side. There's Thresh with a hook on the Severe. Oh, these are mad life hooks that are going down, but there's no follow-up from red team. There's no cojones or no will to go into the fight. You know, they just want to poke down, but I think that blue have the better poking composition. Thresh is going to go down. Rek'Sai's in there doing work. Thresh actually, yes, he does go down. Also Xerath go down. This is a great fight here for blue. Lucian's coming in late. Yasuo doing some cleanup there, but not enough. The Alistair goes down now, and kills traded back and forth, but ultimately blue coming out with more carries. Lee Sin has no health and really nothing to contribute if he doesn't have health, and Lucian cannot go in solo into 3 members. Yeah, and down goes Lee Sin. Even looking at that Drake was a mistake, even thinking about doing it. So he pays the price, and another kill over onto his ear. And now at 2-4-6, with Drake in their pocket, 17 kills on the board. They've evened it to within about 800 gold, so blue team very much in this fight. And if you're looking at late game compositions, the Azir is nasty. The rest of the champions on red, they're good. Yasuo's good, Xerath is good, but they're not nasty damage like Azir can be. So with a Severe and a Sion, with an Alistair to protect the Azir, if they can do that and allow him to position correctly in fights, I think he'll destroy red. And we've seen that in the last fight there, where even though it looked for a long time like red were in control of it, and I think they even engaged it, ultimately blue came away ahead. Now here's a Yasuo, which is just always a concern in solo queue. So yeah, you get a lot of chain CC up onto him, and that's it. That's the problem engaging into a Rek'Sai Sion, is that you'll get in there, and once you do, you'll just stand there for about 2.5 seconds while they chain CC on you. Now blue is absolutely decimating this fight. Xerath's down, Yasuo's down, Thresh is down, Lee Sin is in all sorts of trouble as Alistair gets the knock up. Sion's, oh, and that was nice, but it's not going to be enough to save him. Hexdrinker procs, and down he goes. Meanwhile, Lucian coming late. Bot lane's pushing in. Azir's goth mid and could potentially put some good damage down onto the tier 1 at this stage. Baron is live, but I don't think Blue are really thinking about that this early into the game. They're probably just going to want to spend all the gold they got from these kills, and start to secure their own buffs in their jungle, get some vision, and think about pushing out for the next objective. Looking at it, red side of the map is getting pretty bare. They do actually get a top lane turret just from Winion pressure. That's the tax you pay for committing all those resources down to the bot lane. Yasuo spots the pink. Great spot for a pink, by the way, folks. Those can go an entire game without getting killed. And he's going to take the red buff, which I guess is okay if he's going to get use of it. But if he goes in and gets immediately CC'd to death like he did the last time, then it's a waste of the resource. Azir is pushing in top solo. Now that's pretty dangerous. I don't know if he has the toolkit to handle that full Yasuo dive. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, down goes Xerath. And yeah, I was completely wrong, folks. Yasuo does not have the stones to take out this Azir, who is going to drop him down with the soldiers. As long as he kited back out of most of Yasuo's damage, he could continue to apply damage of his own and just drop him. So yeah, blue team with 2 kills for none, getting a lot of pressure in mid lane. Top lane has good pressure, but again, there's always one lane on red team that's not right. And now Azir should rush bot, clear out that lane, and join his team so that they can engage for these objectives with full pressure. But blue have decided to go 4 on 3, get another kill, get a second kill, still haven't lost anyone. Looks like Thresh is going to go down, join Lee Sin, join Lucian. That's a double kill for Severe. Everybody's going to get out nicely, and it's a wonderfully executed dive by blue team. Only Xerath can spoil the party, or can he? No. Arcane Barrage is completely useless. Severe's got FaceTime on the turret, which you never wanted to have. Yasuo takes tremendous poke, essentially zoned out of the fight again, gets his last breath down onto, I think, Alistair or potentially Rek'Sai or Cyan, but who cares? Why would you do it anyway? That turret's going down, and that inhibitor is going down. I think, yeah, I think Severe got the red buff in the end off Yasuo. Yeah, so yeah, a great fight overall for blue. They lost Azir, they lost Alistair, but who cares? They got an inhibitor, they got an inhibitor turret. They've cracked the base without having to take Baron, without having to take a third or fourth or fifth dragon. So they've shown already that they're strong enough. 28 to 22 kills. They've got approximately a 4k gold advantage, and they're even on Drakes. But more importantly, they have all the map control in the world now, because Red have at least one member tied to keep him mid clear. Sorry. So that means that Blue can hopefully set up vision, get a pick on red as they rotate between farming and defending, and on that pick build a push onto either the top or bottom turrets, preferably the bots, so that they have some more Baron pressure if they get a second inhibitor, and then yeah, just by the numbers take it home. But they're playing very well together, they're grouping, they're chaining their CC well, they're focusing on objectives, they're not getting distracted by kills. So yeah, looks like 23 minutes into this that blue have all the potential to take the game. It's theirs to throw away, and we just have to see if red team is patient enough, if they can farm up these champs here and wait for blue to make a mistake, to make a throw, and when that happens, to take full advantage of it and press that advantage home and win the game. But with an uncontested Baron, a gold lead, a turret lead, every sort of lead except for Drake at the moment, it's hard to see blue slip it up. Now, not having proper vision control is one way that it can happen. Azir crossing a ward, Alistair like charging into both a Lucian and a Xerath. And if 2 members of blue are top and 2 are mid, then it's bad news bears for whichever group gets engaged on by 5, if red team can manage to do that. But at the moment, making great use of the Baron buff, splitting it in 3 lanes, getting pressure down on all the turrets, and rotating to where favorable fights are being offered. Now that's a great Lee Sin and Telegraph, but still great. Manages to take out the Rek'Sai, but lost the turret, burned a lot of ults. All the carries are still alive on blue. Well, they're halfway across the map, and blue team have opened them up to the potential of taking bad fights, because Yasuo is one-on-oneing Sion, and it looks like he's going to win. And then it was a 4-on-3 in the bot when they got a kill. Blue still didn't kite effectively, and But then again, clean up aisle 5 as Severe flashes after the Hex Drinker. Lee Sin gets the kill, takes the stun, and Spell Shield's out for a bit of it, but stays and dies to the Thresh. Probably would have died anyway. Yasuo eventually gets that kill top, and I think that blue, by splitting like that, by not staying together when they were stronger than red, forcing them to take a fight that was unfavorable, and pressing the advantage home to a win, I think they've given blue a real opportunity to get back into the game. I'm looking at 974 in bounty gold alone. All the kills and assists that went over to blue there, they've managed to pull the gold back to about 3.2k. You know, still sitting 3 towers down, but it's not looking as grim as it was. Although I still fancy blue team's late game scaling, and I think come out ahead, and then not as ahead as they were, but still ahead. And I think going into the late game, it's still their game to throw away. They'd have to do what they did there once or twice more, and then potentially red team could have a really good chance of winning it. But I think that blue are going to learn the lesson from the last time. In this case, engaging without their Severe, Yasuo teleports in, gets the knock up on one, not going to take it. Good zone set up by Rek'Sai into the back with the knock up. Here's the engage now, and Lucian getting Emperor's Divided into the fight. Yasuo wind or Hurricane does go down, gets the knock up, but doesn't take it. Doesn't have his ult up, I think. Severe versus Yasuo in the back line. Sion eventually cleans up. Here's long range Xerath attempting to do a bit of damage. Not even to these guys. To the Azir that's still running around on like a laughably low amount of health. As the two uber tanks of Alistar and Sion continue just to skirmish in the back line, being a total pain in the arse for these guys. And not having enough damage to really do anything, and ultimately delaying red, keeping red off that exposed Nexus turrets, or the Nexus turrets. But I think it's time for blue to go. I think they need to start thinking about getting another Drake. They need to set up for the inevitable Baron that's on the way and push down a second inhibitor, which they should have been able to do already. But you know what? Overstaying works both ways. And sooner or later you get chipped down, you use enough resources that you're as weak as the guy you came to kill, and when his buddies show up, you're dead. If you stay fighting for longer than the death timers are, then you're essentially fighting 5-on-7 or 4-on-7, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so still give the advantage to blue, still up on kills, still up on gold. Have the turrets. The inhibitor has respawned, but is exposed, so it's not as good an advantage as it could be, but still there. Oh, I got a bit of spectator lag there, I think, or Yasuo got pinballed around, but either way, he goes down in the mid lane. Red goes over to Lucian, who I think is a better candidate for it anyway. He really, like, 8, 6, 7, he's tried, but I just think the overwhelming engage and skirmish of blue team has made it really hard for him to position correctly in fights and get effective sustained damage off. And that's what's led red team to lose these fights, is their carries to go down early. Xerath especially has been caught in dumb positions like more more than once, and that's caused his team to lose a lot of pressure and momentum, and it's just handing objectives over to blue. And I think red, like, falling apart a little bit at this stage. It's fair to say that Thresh getting caught there for absolutely no reason. Like, Drake isn't up. There's not a turret for a third of the map. So what was he doing there? But yeah, you can understand the tilt at this stage. You're now down 7 kills. They're knocking on the door. They're picking off one of your members every other minute. We have got, what, 75 kills in 29 minutes. That's awesome. Severe takes out the inhibitor and then rotates over. Ali tanking a little while, everybody splitting the focus. No real minions there yet, so there's the Luden's proc onto Lucian. There's a miss done from Xerath. He'll go down now to the Rek'Sai, who's just horrendous on 10, 8, 14. And that's blue team steamrolling over what's left of red team, splitting out the aggro, dropping the turrets. And I'm not really going to get to talk about item builds or engage potential or anything else really, because this game is over, and blue team have absolutely face stomped it. So good GG to them. Red team tried, but they just didn't have it in them. So anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again soon.